So they've been lying to everybody, okay? They're involved with something. Hi guys, it's Sarah. Welcome back to another video here on my channel. I hope you guys are doing well. I have had quite the day today. I've been scripting for hours and hours and hours, working on a new video. I am just sort of leaning into my hyperfixations at the moment. I'm feeling very much like myself, which is so nice. So I hope you guys are just like buckled in because the channel may get a little funky and I'm trying to just have fun with it and not be stressed. I want you guys to know, just from me right now, no matter what happens, I'm not abandoning any projects. So even if I start something new or things kind of get pushed aside for a week or two, nothing's getting abandoned. I just really desperately don't want to burn out because I am loving making these videos and I'm loving like the community that we're building and everything that's coming from this channel. But I also want to make sure that I'm still having fun consistently every time I'm sitting down to work. And recently, I think just with everything going on, I've been a little, quite a bit burnout, honestly. And so I'm finding some things that bring me joy that are outside of Once Upon a Time and Vampire Diaries, and we may explore those just a little bit. But don't panic, okay? I don't want anybody to panic. We're not gonna move away from anything completely until we finish the shows, okay? So I promise we're still gonna do the originals. That's not going away. So that being said, today we are talking about the Vampire Diaries. We are almost done with season 5, which feels crazy. If you are not subscribed to this channel and you are enjoying the series, please don't forget to subscribe. I know you're probably sick of me saying that, but it does help. It grows the channel, which then in turn is gonna help me be able to do this as like a full-time thing, which is the goal. So just don't forget to subscribe, please. I think that's all I need to say in this. Let's just get started. So remember, we ended last time with Catherine getting expelled from Elena's body and Elena waking up, and she may or may not have been poisoned with werewolf venom. So we're all a little concerned about that. We open this episode with a party going on at like a random college bar. Elena's up on the bar dancing. Everybody's kind of teasing her and they're like, wow, she's having fun. We love seeing Elena like this. Matt's like, take it off, like in a joking way. She pulls off one layer of her shirts because it's the 2000s, so she's got like 4 different shirts on, okay? Let's not even unpack that right now. We don't have time. She offers Jeremy some shots. It's just messy. It's giving messy Elena. And then all of a sudden she jumps down off the bar and she's like, I don't know who you guys think I am, but clearly I'm Catherine. When do I ever let Jeremy drink and take my clothes off on bars? You guys are terrible friends. They all start panicking because they're like, Elena, what are you talking about? Of course you're yourself. What's wrong with you? She's having a nightmare. Elena wakes up in bed at the college. She tries to go outside and realizes she's been spelled into the building. Stefan is there and he's like, hello, we have a lot we need to talk about. She's been a little bit out of it because not only does she have the vampire ripper virus, she's got the freaky hybrid version that has werewolf venom in it. So now she's trying to kill other vampires and actively dying. She wants to talk to Damon, but he cannot come to her because he is still locked up in the cellar since he also still has the vampire virus. We cut to Jeremy bringing Damon some food and like messing with him. Damon is super chained up now because remember, he broke out before and like got out and hurt Tyler. So they're avoiding that. They tightened his chains and now he can't go as far. Elena calls and they have such a sweet, precious conversation. It starts with, hey you, and it's so cute. So she wants to know how Catherine convinced him to like believe the breakup and what happened and what she said. And Damon's like, yeah, you know, I actually don't remember. It's not like it's been like playing on my mind on a loop since it happened or anything. Like, definitely not. I don't know. She could have said anything, Elena. I don't remember. She tells him that she wanted to fight for him, and she still does. Elena brings up Aaron and is like, I have to fix things with him because the last time I saw him, he was freaking out about me being a vampire, and then I have no idea what's happened these last 3 weeks while Catherine's been in my body, so I've got to go talk to him and explain what happened. And Damon is like, maybe you should not do that, and then still doesn't tell her the truth because he's a little chicken. Caroline meets up with Enzo. It's all kinds of weird and awkward and a little sexually tense in some ways, but they're both looking for the antidote, so they kind of end up on the same team. Then it turns out he already has the antidote. Elena gets off the phone with Damon. Stefan comes over to give her some blood, because remember, they're rationing now so that her and Damon don't desiccate, but also they're not strong. Elena, when she stands up, like almost falls down. She's very dizzy, so the werewolf venom is acting fast. She insists that she could probably come out of the prison they've put her in, and he's like, yeah, okay, you think so? He bites his wrist and shows it to her, and she goes absolutely feral and tries to maul him through the like witch barrier. So then she panics about the fact that now she's a Ripper because she doesn't want to be a monster, and she says she hates Catherine and she regrets ever offering her her forgiveness. Caroline calls and confirms the suspicions that something else is wrong with Elena, and she's like, yeah, no, she's got werewolf venom in her. Don't worry, I can get us the antidote, but Stefan, you have to come here and meet me, and I can't tell you why. Stefan's like, I'm not going anywhere until you tell me what's going on, and all she can say is that the travelers don't want the witches, meaning like Liv, to figure out what they're doing, so she's like, you just have to come meet us and trust me. Before Stefan can leave Elena, she asks him why Catherine stayed in town and didn't run away, and she figures out that Catherine went after Stefan, and he has to admit that they did in fact kiss. Bonnie is teaching Liv more magic. Liv is like very enthusiastic and excited and wants to do like more big spells, but then Bonnie forces her to do like a basic fire spell and she can't. And so Bonnie is like, yeah, we need to fix the basics first and then we can go back to the bigger stuff. Elena starts trying to call Aaron to get up with him, but obviously the boy is dead, so it keeps going to voicemail. Elena opens up her journal to write and finds that Catherine was writing in it because she was pretending to be Elena, and Elena journals. So she wrote all this stuff about how she was Catherine and how everybody was so stupid, and also like, I'm getting back with Stefan, I love him, I think he loves me, everything's perfect. And it makes Elena have this weird like vision of what happened when Catherine was in her body. It's not accurate though, like she goes into this like mind vision where she pictures her and Stefan getting to the hotel and like the grease being on her shirt, so she has to change, and she tries to change in front of Stefan, and Stefan's like, oh my god, don't do that, I don't need to be looking at you like that, stop. And Catherine's like, why? Like, don't you want to? They start kissing, she freaks out because she's like, no wait, I'm Elena, Stefan, stop. He thinks she's just teasing him, it's very uncomfortable, and then Damon shows up and he's like, you should have known better, like Elena would never kiss you, Elena's in love with me. And it's this whole weird scene that happens, and then Elena wakes up and she's got a nosebleed and she's in a lot of pain. Caroline and Stefan meet up with the travelers and Sloane. Basically, when he got roped into helping Maxfield again, he ended up being experimented on by the travelers one more time, and because of that, they were able to make an antidote. They agree that they can help make one for Elena, but they need Caroline and Stefan to help them find another doppelganger because they need doppelganger blood for something they're doing that we're not allowed to know about yet. Elena calls Damon to explain that she's getting sick with the werewolf blood and she's having all these weird visions and like she really feels bad. They get a little flirty again, but nothing happens. He owns up to killing Maxfield and she's upset with him. She's like, Aaron didn't deserve that. That was his only family. What were you thinking? But Damon still doesn't tell her about Aaron. Enzo explains that the travelers want Stefan and Elena to be the final pair of doppelgangers, will not explain why, will not explain why they need the blood. He just says there is an extra Stefan doppelganger running about and they need to find him and kill him. Elena is getting real sick real quick. She keeps passing out, having visions, she's starting to get feverish, it's not going good. She dreams of Aaron coming to see her. He says that he isn't really there, and then he like has his wounds on him, and she's like, oh my god, did I kill you? What happened? But then it's not Aaron, it's this guy. He helps her up and she's like, what are you doing here? I thought everybody was on break. And he's like, oh, I came back to school early because of a breakup. His name is Luke, and they apparently met at the bitter ball, so he knows her, but she has no memory of him. She compels him to stand still, and she is like on her way to turning him into a vampire to kill him so she can feed off of him. And then she realizes that he has bite marks on his neck. And he's like, yes, my boyfriend thought they were hickeys, but clearly it's some rash. And she realizes, oh my God, Catherine was using you as a blood bag. That's terrible. Get out of here. She sends him after Bonnie and Liv. Elena calls Damon freaking out about killing Aaron, like having a full-blown panic attack. He says he knows what happened, but it's not the right time to tell her. She thinks he's lying. She thinks everybody's lying. She explodes and throws the phone away. So now Damon is freaking out because he realizes she is going off the deep end rapidly. Damon wants to go to her, so he starts begging Matt and Jeremy to let him out. He ends up getting Matt into the room and the chain wrapped around Matt's neck, and he gets Matt's ring off. So he's going to kill Matt if Jeremy doesn't let him out. Jeremy is like, what is wrong with you? I can't let you out. You will kill Elena. And Damon is like, I would never hurt Elena, but Elena is going to hurt herself. You need to let me out right now or I'm killing Donovan. Make your choice. Stefan gets set up to do the mind link so they can find the doppelganger, and Caroline stays with him. Enzo takes the antidotes and leaves. Sloane takes Stefan's blood, which worries him because when Ketsia did the link, she didn't have to do that. Sloane is like, yeah, well, I do. Deal with it. They start the spell, and it's just as painful as it was the last time and very hard for Stefan to deal with. Elena is having a breakdown in her dorm room, burning all the stuff that Catherine touched while she was Catherine instead of herself. Bonnie and Liv show up, and Bonnie tries to calm her down and be like, you know, this isn't you. You're not supposed to be acting like this. It's just the fever. If you just calm down, everything will be fine. Elena starts freaking out about how she has to leave immediately, and then she starts threatening Liv. And Bonnie is like, do you hear yourself? You don't threaten people, calm down. And Elena goes, oh my God, you're right. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. I'm so sorry. And then she breaks a chair leg and stabs Liv and is basically just like, let me out or she'll die. She needs my blood, so drop the barrier and I'll heal her, or she can die. Your choice. Liv immediately starts like gurgling blood, like it hits her and blood comes up. So it's not good. Stefan is still under the spell. It was like not dark when they started the process. It is now nighttime. So he's having a bad day. We see a vision of an EMT, Stefan doppelganger. He is working at a hospital. They figure out that he's in Atlanta, but that's all the information they can get. Stefan is really struggling and like on the verge of being like cracked open with his mind. Sloane is insisting that they keep doing it. She doesn't care because they don't need Stefan alive. They just need Stefan's blood. So even if he dies, they can still use the doppelganger blood. It doesn't matter. Caroline draws a knife on Sloane and is like, knock it off. There's a way we can all get what we want. Leave Stefan alone. Elena is out and about losing her marbles and coughing up blood in the streets. Aaron shows up again, but it's actually Damon, and he gives her some blood from Stefan to like help her calm down. She starts freaking out that Catherine won when she turned her into a monster and everything's ruined now. He tries to comfort her, but she can't take it. This is when he finally admits that he killed Aaron, and he's basically like, I wish I could tell you that I did it like in an accident or something like that, but no, I did it to prove you right after you said I was a monster who could just kill without feeling. I just needed to prove you right about that because you broke up with me and it made me really sad. And Elena's like, oh my God. What's wrong with you? Enzo shows up with the antidotes. Stefan is hurt, but he wakes up. He looks over at Caroline and he's like, oh my God, Rebecca. She's like, no, oh no. And he's like, oh my God, I'm just kidding. It's Lexi, right? He's the worst, but he's fine. So Caroline has agreed to go with Enzo to track down the EMT Stefan doppelganger because Stefan can't leave because the travelers need him as insurance. And they have to use the mind link to keep tracking the EMT Stefan. They're like in like a train yard for this scene, so we get a shot of her like walking down a little ramp to get off the cart, and while she's walking, Enzo like offers her a hand and she just ignores him completely, and it's beautiful. Bonnie and Liv talk. Bonnie is very upset about what happened to Liv, and she's like, I completely understand if you don't want to do this anymore, like this is what you said you were afraid of. I'm so sorry I dragged you into it. But Liv is like, no girl, it's totally fine. I'm not worried. Like, I want to be part of this life. This is so exciting. You're teaching me so much. I want to do this and I want you to be my teacher. Please, Bonnie. And Bonnie's like, okay, deal. I'll see you tomorrow. Liv goes into her room, waves her hands, and just lights all the candles in her room. Luke is there. He is secretly her twin brother. Surprise. So they've been lying to everybody, okay? They know stuff we don't know, and they infiltrated the group for some reason. Damon and Elena are together. She says that he's the one that should have realized that she was Catherine and not Elena. And he's like, yes, girl, I know. Believe me, I feel stupid and terrible about it. This is the iconic, that's how much control you have over me. Well, I'm still here. That's how much control you have over me. Don't you see? We're toxic, you and I. We're bad for each other. That's this scene. She hits him with a, yes, Damon, you screwed up, and I am so unbelievably mad at you, but I love you. He says, so then stop loving me. She says, she can't. They agree they do not work and things need to end. She says, okay, wonderful. It just ended. We're over. They then proceed to jump each other and fall into bed. I will say this is one of my favorite hookup scenes, okay? Fire breather starts playing. It's a good moment. It's a good scene. We open with Tom, the Stefan doppelganger. He's an EMT and a really sweet person. I hope nothing bad happens to him. Damon and Elena wake up post-hookup the next morning. It's awkward. He's very flirty. She maintains that they broke up and they must stay broken up, so she leaves. Sloan calls Enzo with the updated information about Tom, which is that he works at a specific hospital in Atlanta, so she used the spell again to work on Stefan and use the mind link. Caroline is pissed because she explicitly told Sloan not to do that. I don't know why Caroline believes any of the bad guys, but she always does. Damon is getting drunk at the grill with Matt and Tyler because Tyler now spends almost all of his time at the grill also getting drunk. The boys try to mess with him and Damon is like, listen. Matt Donovan, you are a loser who still works at the grill 3 years after high school. I don't know how your life could get any sadder than that. Tyler, your entire life went up in smoke in New Orleans, then you came back and lost your girlfriend. I will not be taking advice from either of you. Thank you very much. Liv comes in to buy alcohol. Damon flirts. Because he is consistently the worst, she blows him off and leaves. As he goes to leave, he sees Liv sit down with Jeremy. Elena calls and tells Bonnie, hello, I broke up with Damon last night, and then also, I slept with him. Bonnie realizes that neither of them were with Jeremy the night before because Elena says he wasn't home and Bonnie says he wasn't with her. So Bonnie at this point starts to get suspicious. Elena goes to the school to meet with Jeremy's teachers because it's like parent-teacher day or whatever. We haven't had one of those yet, but we do now. Damon shows up because he's actually the one listed on Jeremy's legal guardian form. Enzo and Caroline are at the hospital together looking for Tom. He is so into her, and he keeps teasing her because he's like, I've been told that you like British bad boys. Is that true? Yes or no? Like a little note that he's passing to her. Like, check yes or no. Do you like me? Do I count as a hot man with an accent? She is very much not into it. She's like, if you don't stop talking to me, I'm gonna kill you myself. Which he just thinks is hot because these boys are crazy. He insinuates that he only came to help with everything because he likes Caroline. It's not really true. In actuality, she reminds him of Maggie, that girl that he was in love with at Augustine. And Caroline is like, oh, let me guess. Did she remind you that you needed to be a better person? And he's like, no, actually. She reminded me that I'd been good all along. Thank you very much. A doctor comes over and tells them that Tom has been missing for 4 months and no one knows where he is. Caroline calls to tell Stefan, but she's on speaker, so Sloan hears everything. So who wants to make a bet on whether or not she does the linking spell again? So they do the spell. Stefan's screaming in agony. Caroline talks to him through the phone to keep him in place because they're afraid he's gonna lose his memories and his sense of self and just disappear into the broken shambles of his mind, and Sloan doesn't care. They get more info about Tom. They see him meeting up with a lady that has red hair. She says that he saved her friend and she wants to take him to dinner to like thank him for that. Tom's really sweet and he's like, yeah, why not? That would be great. She gives him an address and is like, okay, pick me up at 7. And he's like, absolutely. Stefan is able to wake up and tell Caroline the address, so he's still fine. But then he says, Caroline, he's a good person. Don't do it. We go back to Damon and Elena in the school waiting for the teacher to come in and talk to them about Jeremy. It's very clear that they still want to be together. There's a lot going on. things get real heated real quickly. He also tells her about seeing Jeremy with Liv, but she's convinced that Jeremy would never cheat on Bonnie, not after what happened before, you know, the ghost girlfriend history thing. She's like, that will never happen again. He learned his lesson. The teacher comes in and catches them fighting and then is like, here's the thing. Jeremy is skipping class, getting into fights, and cheating in math. And I think it's y'all's fault because chaos at home tends to lead to chaos in the classroom. Caroline and Enzo get to the address. They open the door and can't go inside because the witch lives there and owns the house, so they can't get in. They see the witch. She's like in a circle on the floor in a trance, not able to like look at them. So Enzo just kills her so that they can go inside. Bonnie has finally snapped because Luke has been in the library with her, like watching her this whole afternoon. So she snaps and goes to him and is like, can I help you? Do you need something? Why do you keep looking at me? And he starts like making excuses and he's like, whoa, no, I don't know what you're talking about. Nope. Also, I'm gay. I don't like you. Then the red-haired lady shows up and she tells Bonnie, she's like, oh, wonderful. You're with Luke. I need you to give him a message for me. She says that they were trying to hide the doppelganger with magic, but they got caught. So now he's going to be found. Her name is Hazel. Luke will know what to do with that information. Bonnie yells out in pain when Hazel crosses over. Luke is like, whoa, what just happened to you? And Bonnie is like, you want to tell me why a red-haired lady named Hazel said she has a message for you, bro? Back at the grill, Liv and Jeremy are talking under a silencer spell so that Tyler can't hear them because Liv is afraid that he's listening in, and he is. Also, just a side note that will be relevant later, Tyler's pretty into Liv. He thinks she's hot. Liv wants to work with Jeremy and has gone after him because he is a hunter. So throwback to when she was being all weird and like flirting with Jeremy. Yeah, she was just trying to get in with him in whichever way she could so that she could use him because he's a hunter and he can't be taken over by the travelers. This is when we learned that the travelers and the witches hate each other. The witches put a curse on the travelers have never forgiven them. There's like fighting on both sides. It's dramatic. It boils down to they're doing something in Mystic Falls and it involves Elena, so they need to keep Elena safe. Then Liv gets a text that says, Hazel is dead. Time for plan B. And she just leaves. And she's like, sorry, Jeremy, you were plan A. I have other things I have to do now. Goodbye. She goes to leave. Tyler tries to stop her and she uses her magic on him and is like, also, I'm not a newbie witch. So let's jot that down. Back at the school, Damon goes absolutely feral in the hallway with Elena. I'm not even going to repeat to you what this man says, okay? But you just need to know that Do I Want to Know is playing in the background and it's a lot to handle. Caroline's really pissed that Enzo killed Hazel. He's like, what exactly were we supposed to do? We had to get inside. She wasn't gonna let us in. I did what needed to be done. He also picks on her about how she's never actually gonna be able to kill Tom. And she's like, do you want me to apologize for being a good vampire? Do you want me to like pretend to be upset that I have a moral compass and I don't like killing people? Because that's not gonna happen, Enzo, okay? Not all of us are crazy killers. He says, I'm not a crazy killer, actually, and I'm not judging you. I'm just saying that you need to be prepared for what you're about to do because I don't think you are. She insists that she will do anything for Stefan as long as it will keep him safe, and then they hear a heart beating. They find Tom down in the basement in a circle of salt with like an oxygen thing and an IV, so that's what's been keeping him alive. She like tries to wake Tom up, but he doesn't wake up. Enzo is like, you really don't have to do it, Blondie. I will do it. It's not a big deal. We can lie to Stefan and tell him you did it if you want. She's like, no, it has to be me. I made the deal. I promised I would do it. She goes to like strangle Tom and he wakes up. So she compels Tom to relax and she's like, I'm your really good friend. You don't have to be afraid of me. Nothing's gonna happen. This isn't gonna hurt. She goes to reach for his neck again and then flash jumps to Enzo, snaps his neck. Tom is like, whoa, what's going on? And she's like, don't worry, I'm getting you out of here. Bonnie confronts Luke about all the lying, but then Jeremy calls and he's like, Liv is up to something. We have to find Elena. Bonnie turns around to look at Luke and he's gone. Damon and Elena hook up in a classroom like a bunch of teenagers. Don't worry, it's a dream. She has to leave his vicinity. They're in like a room listening to a teacher talk and it's really boring. That's why she was daydreaming about Damon in the classroom. She leaves to get some air. Liv finds her and Liv is like, I'm so sorry, Elena. It's time for plan B. I tried to keep you safe. I swear, my coven, we've been trying to keep you safe. We can't do it anymore. You're too dangerous alive. And she like throws a bunch of wood at Elena and then grabs a stake and goes to kill her. But before she can, Damon shows up and he knocks her out and is like, word to the wise, if you're gonna kill somebody, don't waste time feeling bad about it, idiot. Tom tells Caroline he has exactly no memories after going to meet Hazel, and she's like, yeah, that's because she put a spell on you, but it's okay, you're fine now, I'm gonna take care of you. She gives him like a whole rundown of everything. He is just a wacky little dude, okay? He's like a weird version of Stefan. There's like elements of the other doppelgangers in him, but he's kind of like that unhinged version of Silas that made the knock-knock joke in the car. That's the version that he like reminds me the most of. She can't find anything wrong with him that would give her permission to kill him. She was hoping maybe he had like a big scary secret in his past, but he's actually just like one of the kindest, nicest people she's ever met. He starts to choke on his food and she like pulls the water glass away from him and just watches him die, but it's actually just another vision. We keep getting a lot of those this episode. Damon tries to get info out of Liv, but she refuses, so he starts torturing her. Elena freaks out on him, and she's like, you do realize that this is the reason why you and I broke up, don't you? Liv ends up admitting that Elena is the last female doppelganger, and now that the travelers sent people after Tom, and that doppelganger is probably gonna be killed, it's gonna mean that Stefan and Elena are the last two alive, which means that they can use their blood in that ritual for whatever it is that the travelers are trying to do that the witches are trying to prevent. Damon is like, oh my god, amazing. Now I have to kill Liv because she's not gonna stop coming after you. Sorry. But before he can do it, Jeremy shows up and gets in between them and is like, if you're gonna kill Liv, you're gonna kill me too. Matt and Tyler roll up on Luke trying to save Liv and stop him. Jeremy and Damon square up. Jeremy is insisting that he can keep Liv in check and he can make sure that she's gonna save Elena instead of hurt her. Elena is like, you know, Jeremy, I have a hard time believing you because you've been lying to us about your behavior in school. And Jeremy is like, I'm sorry, but look at where we are right now. This is why I have problems in school, Elena. Our life is a living hell. I can fix this, just let me do it. And Elena agrees. Jeremy takes Liv out to see Luke, and he's basically like, look, you two know what's going on, I can help, I will do whatever you want me to as the hunter, but also my friends are coming. So now we've got the A-team of Liv, Luke, Jeremy, Matt, and Tyler. What could go wrong here? Caroline and Tom are walking back to her car. Enzo comes out of nowhere and just snaps Tom's neck. The boy is dead. Caroline's so devastated. Enzo says, look, I had to do it. He had to die or they were never going to tell me where Maggie was. Caroline says, well, if Maggie's anything like me, then I guarantee you she just lost every bit of respect for you that she had. Enzo is like, well, then I will just earn her forgiveness back. Won't I, Blondie? So he's very upset, very scared that Maggie will actually hate him now. Elena and Damon are at home drinking together. She says that she thinks the teacher was right and they are the reason why Jeremy is the way he is. And Damon's like, no, actually Jeremy was right. It's his life. That's why he is the way that he is. Jeremy comes out and is like, hey, I'm not mad at any of you guys, but I need to figure out how to handle things like a big boy on my own. So I'm gonna move in with Matt and Tyler in the Mojo Dojo Casa house. Caroline gets back to the junkyard where the travelers have moved and she finds Stefan and they end up like in the back of a car together laying down. She says she's sorry she failed and that she couldn't do it even if it meant saving him. He says he knew she wasn't going to be able to do it and it's okay. The travelers were never going to let him go anyway. That's why he didn't want her to do it. They end up like lightly cuddling in the back of the car and it is so stinking cute. Elena is packing to go back to school. Damon offers to drive her home, but she says no. It's basically come to a head where she is kind of like, I love you too much, and if we're alone in the car or you walk me to my door, I'm not going to be able to stop myself from holding your hand or kissing you. And we are not only bad together, we make each other do bad things for the other person. So we have to stop. We have to just cold turkey knock it off, and I'm leaving. Damon comes over, takes her face in his hands, gives her a kiss on the forehead, and says, travel safe, in his little pitiful sad voice. Bonnie calls Jeremy again and is like, hi, it's your girlfriend Bonnie. I miss you. I want to know you're okay. Please call me. Stefan and Caroline moved around in the back of the car in their sleep, and now they are properly cuddling. Before it was just like a little bit of a cuddle. Now it's like they're cuddling. They wake up to the travelers chanting. The travelers are drinking a mix of Elena and Stefan's blood. Sloane picks up a flaming torch, lights one of them on fire, and then they all catch on fire. They start screaming and chanting and dying. Caroline and Stefan run away. So Bonnie, as the anchor to the other side, is overwhelmed by all these people suddenly showing up. They're still chanting while they cross over, so they're just saying the chant, touching her, crossing over, saying the chant, touching her, crossing over. There's way too many of them. She passes out, and while she's on the floor, a shadow like comes out of her body going the opposite direction, and it turns into a man. We don't get to see his face. He just struts off down the hallway into the dark. Episode 18, we open with Elena looking like she did in season 1, okay? Remember the straight hair, the leather jacket. She's at a table in Mystic Falls writing in her journal. She rips out a page, it blows away on the wind. Stefan picks it up. He's like, what is this? She's like, oh, it's a particularly embarrassing page from my journal. He's like, you censor your journal? She's like, yes, don't you? He's like, no, that defeats the purpose of a journal. She's like, please give me back the page. They pass the page back to each other and their fingers brush, and it's like a whole moment. And then the vision stops and we realize it's a vision. Stefan is in the middle of the street and nearly gets hit by a car, and Elena wakes up in bed. Enzo and Damon are at the Salvatore house playing pool because part of Damon's breakup meltdown this time was to buy a pool table. Enzo is picking on him in the best way. I love their chemistry. I love their friendship. So he's just tormenting Damon about the fact that Damon loves Elena still, and now he's in the friend zone. Ouch, doesn't that hurt? Isn't this the worst? And Damon's like, I will throw the 8-ball through your skull, my guy. Try me. Also, Enzo hasn't found Maggie because the travelers all died before they could tell him. Elena and Caroline walk into the grill and Elena drops her keys. She picks them up and has another memory flash, this time of her and Stefan coming home from a date and kissing at the front of her house, but also they're still in high school and her parents are still alive. It's very strange. She comes to at the table with Caroline and she's like, how did I get over here? And Caroline's like, you walked? We just walked across the room, Elena. That's what people do. And then we sat down and now we're here. What's wrong with you? Oh my God, did you have another sex dream about Stefan? And Elena's like, they're not sex dreams. Quit calling them that. But yes, what is going on? Stefan calls Caroline and he's like, hello, you know how sometimes you call me to get me to tell you that you're not crazy? Well, I'm calling you now so that you can tell me that I'm not crazy because I'm having visions about Elena and I almost got hit by a car this morning and now it just happened again and I'm scared, Caroline. And Caroline is like, oh honey, nothing's wrong with you, but something's definitely wrong because the same thing's happening to Elena. Bonnie calls Jeremy again. This little shit still hasn't called her back. She feels a breeze and then slips into the other side and we see Grams. Grams says that the witches were talking about whatever the travelers did. It was bad and they're pretty sure somebody slipped through and got out because now the other side is crumbling apart and it's getting real scary real quick. Liv has to stab Matt and Tyler with the traveler knife just to ensure that they're not passengers before they agree to let them all work together. Tyler, to show off and be hot in front of Liv, is like, I'll do it myself, and he stabs himself and then he's gonna heal, you know. Matt is like, that's awesome, but I'm a human and also I already had a passenger in me, so I think I would know if it was happening again. Liv is like, do you want me to do it for you? And she goes to push the knife into his shoulder. She's like, we don't have to do it too deep, it probably won't hurt that bad. And what do we think Matt does? That's right, he grabs her hand, stares her in the eyes, and just shoves it into his shoulder himself. And she's just kind of like, boys are so dumb. Boys are so icky. You guys have way too much testosterone. I hate it. She tells them that her coven has been tracking the travelers for thousands of years. Normally, they don't settle in any one location, but occasionally they will do the thing where they will go to a town, they will infect everybody with passengers and take over the town and just live there for a little while until they get caught. Liv thinks that's what they're doing in Mystic Falls. We cut to travelers wandering about, kidnapping townspeople, including Liz. Enzo's getting real sassy with his teasing of Damon about Elena, and I love it. I love to see it. I love when he does silly little voices. Elena calls Damon and Damon doesn't answer and he's like, whew, temptation 0, Damon 1. Caroline calls Enzo and he's like, ooh, temptation 1, Enzo, hello gorgeous. She explains about the visions and is like, please tell Damon that because Stefan and Elena are the only ones left, they're being forced together by these weird visions and we don't know what to do and we need to figure out why it's happening. Bonnie shows up at Tyler's house to see Jeremy. That's right, this grown woman had to leave her college campus to go check on her high school boyfriend because he's too much of a putz to freaking pick up the phone and call her back. When she gets there, after this long car ride, he is shifty as hell and won't let her inside. She like gets in, but he's like blocking the rest of the house and like trying to keep her from coming in. And he's kind of just like, you know, I've got everything handled. I've just been busy. I'm just busy, Bonnie. Go away. Liv shows up and Bonnie's even more pissed because remember, he's cheated on her before. Jeremy is like, I'm so sorry. I can't tell you what's going on. I promise we're just working on something together. Please trust me. And then he just shoves her out the door and shuts it. Matt went to look for Liz himself and he can't find her. So he's on the phone with Tyler and he's like, you need to get over here soon with the traveler knife. He hangs up. Liz is behind him and she's like, the traveler knife? What's that? He's like, oh, I don't know. I was just talking to Tyler. You must have misheard me. And she's like, no, Matt, I don't think I did. And then she stabs him in the neck with a pin and kills Matt. So Bonnie finds Matt waiting by her car and he's like, I need you to tell Jeremy that Liz is in trouble. He will know what to do. I'm so sorry about this. He touches her and goes through to the other side. Except this time when he wakes up, there's a man looking at him and he's like, can you see me? And the guy's like, yeah. He's like, are you a witch? The guy's like, no. And then Cole, yes, Cole, he shows up and he's like, what's up, Donovan? Why are you here again? The other side's breaking. And I'm scared. But Matt doesn't care that the other side is breaking down. He just realizes, oh my God, I can see Vicky again and goes running off to find her. Elena and Caroline go over to see Damon and Enzo so they can all talk. It is so awkward. Enzo and Caroline leave the room and they just go laugh at them from the living room. They're like, wow, these two are so stupid. This is the worst. They're listening to everything they're saying. Damon and Elena have the like, we're friends now, right? We're just friends. Friend zone, friends. So Enzo is like devastated for Damon. He's like, damn, that was a hard blow. That sucks. Caroline is like, what do you even know about dating? Like, you're going after this lady that loved you when you were younger. I don't know if you know this, but she's probably old as hell. And Enzo is like, you're so dumb. I don't want to date her, Caroline. I want to thank her because she was the only thing that kept me alive and happy this entire time I was being held captive and tortured. Luke shows up at the Salvatore house. Tyler confronts Liz. She is real creepy and real standoffish. She goes to leave and Tyler goes, oh, by the way, my mom says hi. Liz turns around and she's like, oh, give her my best. And he just attacks. He stabs her with the knife. She's like, oh, what's happening? And he's like, it's okay. You're going to be fine now. I promise. But then somebody walks up behind Tyler. Luke says he's so sorry, but he can't stop the visions between Elena and Stefan because the doppelganger magic is too strong. They think that Marcos, which is the leader of the travelers, I may or may not have told you guys about him. We've heard about him, but we didn't know where he was or who he was. Turns out he was on the other side and he's the one that came through and escaped. Luke's pretty sure that because the travelers want Elena and Stefan together, they're leading them to a location and that location is probably going to be where Marcos is. Does that make sense? Sort of. Also, it's confusing. Just go with it. Damon's having a horrible time with the whole Elena and Stefan having visions of each other thing. Just in case you were wondering, he's not handling it well. He basically feels like they were doomed from the beginning and this just proves it. And they were never meant to be together, so he never had a chance with Elena and it was all a lie. She tells him that the universe doesn't control her and none of it is real, and then promptly has another vision of Stefan. This time they live together. He's cooking for her, but he can't cook in this reality, okay? Elena can cook, but Stefan can't. It's a flip-flop of the world we're in right now. She finds a freaking engagement box ring in a kitchen drawer. He proposes. Now they're getting married. Damon brings her back out of the vision and she has broken the glass that she was holding in her hand. She says she knows where Marcos is They need to go to the house where Stefan and Elena live in the dream vision world thing. On the other side, Matt is running through the woods looking for Vicky. He finds her and they get reunited, but she tells him that he needs to leave because things are getting really bad really quickly and she doesn't want him to get hurt. They run together and then Vicky is snatched away from him by that like weird invisible wind thing that snatched Catherine. Damon and Enzo go to the house to find Marcos. It's empty, but they find Marcos in the living room and he's like, hello, I'm the reason why Stefan and Elena are being drawn together. Nice to meet you. He wants to take Damon away to talk to him, but he tells Enzo that he can't go or he'll never find Maggie. Marcos explains to Damon that the spell that made Amara and Ketsia and Silas immortal is the thing that was like the catalyst between the witches and the travelers, because remember, those three were travelers and they did that spell. And then the witches don't think people should be immortal, so they're kind of the reason, like the witches and the spirits of nature are the reason why the doppelgangers were created as like an antidote to that spell. The witches cursed the travelers from that point on, so they were never able to like settle together in a group again. So the only time they can do it is when they take over towns and like inhabit other people's bodies. Marcos says that all he needs is the blood from Elena and Stefan. Nobody has to get hurt. That's all he wants. And to prove it, he will stop the visions. Everybody around Damon starts chanting and he realizes how infested the town has become, and they break the visions. As they're breaking the spell, Elena and Stefan have one final vision. They are now married with children. There is some horrible dialogue about biting because we had to make a vampire joke even though they're humans in this world. Then the vision starts breaking down and stops, and Elena and Stefan are together in the house and they're like, hey, did you feel that? Like that happened to both of us? Okay, that was weird. So Elena and Stefan talk, and it's a nice scene where they kind of come to a consensus that even though that was nice and that like dream world at one point was what they like hoped to have with each other, it's ultimately not what they want anymore, and it wasn't real and it doesn't mean anything. It's a really sweet moment. Elena asks him if he thinks that she'll ever be able to talk to Damon the way she talks to him, and Stefan is like, well, I don't think you can be friends with Damon and in love with Damon. So you're gonna have to pick which one you wanna be. Back in the other side, Matt is still processing Vicky being snatched away from him. Cole shows up and is like, I get it, you're sad, get it together, we have bigger issues. I need you to go back across and tell somebody what's going on so they can fix it, because we're all gonna get yeeted into the invisible wind space, okay, if we're not careful. Cole starts crying, y'all. The little murder demon teenager, okay? You gotta remember, he's a kid. He's a teenager immortal, all right? So he's very upset and very scared. Matt is like, I don't know what to tell you, bro, but when I go back across, I'm gonna forget everything. And Cole just starts begging him. And he's like, you need to figure out a way to remember, because otherwise we're all gonna die. Bonnie is waiting beside Matt in Liz's office. Jeremy's also there. He's trying to apologize. He's just kind of making it worse. Bonnie doesn't really want to hear it. Matt wakes up, and for whatever reason, this time he remembers everything, and he's like, yeah, things are really bad over there, Bonnie. We gotta fix it. Damon finds Elena in his bedroom, and he's like, listen, I think we need to lay some ground rules, because if I'm not allowed to drive you home, I don't think you should be allowed to ambush me in my room. She laughs a little bit and then thanks him for being the one that stopped the visions between her and Stefan. He doesn't want to know anything else, but she's like, no, I need to tell you. I need to tell you that we had a perfect life together, and it was beautiful, and it was everything we thought we wanted, but it wasn't real. But what she has with Damon is messy and complicated and real. He's like, yes, really bad for each other. She insists that she still needs him in her life and wants to be his friend. But Damon snaps and he's like, no, because here's the thing. I don't want to be your friend, Elena. I don't want to look at you or think about you or talk to you or know you in a friend capacity, okay? I can't do that. The answer is no. She gets all sad and she's like, okay, if that's what you want. And he's like, that's what I want. And she leaves. Caroline is waiting for Liz to wake up. Tyler calls her and is like, don't worry, you know, when this happened to Matt, it took him a while to wake up. Everything's fine now, nothing to worry about. Caroline's like, thank you so much for your help, Tyler. I'll update you later. Tyler hangs up and he's with Marcos. He tells Marcos, I've got everything handled. She doesn't suspect a thing. So a passenger did in fact get into Tyler. He brought the traveler knife to Marcos, and Marcos burns it in the fire. So yay, amazing. This is gonna work out wonderfully for everybody involved. All right, so we're gonna have a lot to unpack with the end of season 5. I think I forgot in my brain where we were going, and then the other side started breaking down, and I was like, oh yeah, that's this season. That all happens in this, oh no. So that's gonna be fun the next time we come back to this. Can't wait to tell you guys all about that. It's not traumatizing or anything. Oh my goodness. There he is. Say hello. Those are bright lights. I know, honey. If you did enjoy this week's episode, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys are having a great week wherever you are. Let me know down below if you have any fun plans for the weekend, and I will see you so soon. Have a good one. Bye.